A one, two, three.
Hello, Music Multiverse listeners, and welcome to Beyond Your Radio and another album listen challenge. Two panelists have challenged each other with albums they've not heard to music shootout on the dusty nowhere of the inner ear. Ew, sounds horrible. What are they trying to do? Well, maybe they're attempting to either expose their counterpart to something new, something maybe in their listening wheelhouse, or maybe something completely off their radar. I think tonight is an absolute awesome showcase of that because both of these listeners have been challenged with albums that are not of their normal ear wheelhouse, we'll call it, I guess. And both really love the records they send to each other, so it'll be interesting to see how much they offend the other. Because is that the point? No, it's not the point of the show, but dear God, someone's going to get hurt. Anyway, so how do we do this? If you're not familiar, each panelist will explain the album when they first got it, that they received, what they thought it was going to be, and some prior expectations before they listen to it. Maybe even they have a little history on it. That's nice. If they don't, well, that's okay. Then they'll dive into the album, what they thought about, and from start to finish. And then they'll score the record, all right? So 0 to 5. The album artwork, first. Number 2, flow of the music, 0 to 5. The musicianship, the band and melody, 0 to 5. Accessibility, 0 to 5. If it's easy for the ear to get into it. You know, does it require a deeper listen? Is it hard to get into? Can you hear the vocalist? Is it, I don't know, is it a hard listen? Is it a Bjork? Is it a, I don't know, Prince record from, newer ones. Overall rating by the listener, finally, 0 to 5. And then we score that up, we'll come up with a total, and guess what? Someone wins, or we're tied. But what do they win? Absolutely nothing. So tonight, it's Jeff on Jeff. And we're going to start with Jeff Young. And he was given an album, and he'll let us know what that album was.
So yeah, I got debut album from Goose in 2016, Moon Cabin. So right off the bat, I'll just say, when it comes to like having never heard this band before, just knowing Jeff's kind of what he grew up on, what he likes, his favorites, like I can tell you, like, bands like Dave Matthews, Grateful Dead, Fish, just not a fan. I think they're very good. I think they're great bands. It's just not my style. I don't mind if they're on radio or something. I'll listen to them, but I'm not going to just go turn it on intentionally. But having said that, so listen to Moon Cabin. I just wound up grabbing it off of YouTube, made sure I had the correct track listings, and first off, the album art, I couldn't find anything on it. I have no idea what the album art means. If anything, maybe Jeff, you know about that. Maybe you can explain it. But I had no idea what it was. But it looked like just some kind of like embroidery patch of some sort. I thought maybe it had some kind of meaning, but I couldn't find out what it was. I mean, right off the bat, like the first song, which is Turned Clouds, it's definitely like right off the bat, it's upbeat, groovy. There's piano, older style keyboards. The first thing I thought of was it sounds like a song like you'd hear in a lighthearted comedy or Pixar tale like Toy Story, or that's something at the beginning, really fun, right? And sometimes not always a fan of the longer drawn out church notes on the old organ sounding keyboard, but it fits. And it's what's funny is it's the upbeat song, but it sounds like it deals with a breakup. So it's kind of a funny thing that they would make a breakup song kind of like upbeat, kind of like a false sense of security, right? Thinking maybe that she would come back, I guess is what it went. Then I listened to, go ahead, what were you gonna say?
No, that was funny. I thought that was funny, but yeah.
And then the next two songs, Into Mist. This song, like I really started noticing, okay, this album is going to be filled with metaphors. And I noticed like a lot of the lyrics have sort of an echo with it, with the lead singer, very, very good voice by the singer. And it has a jazz element too. The one song that I see is probably one of the more popular ones on this album, Arcadia. this is where I kind of thought, okay, this is definitely a jam band. You know, like probably you go to see them live, they just start playing where they feel like. But it's also kind of mellow and funky. And I thought the guitar solo in this particular song kind of reminded me of some of the slower melodic stuff that Joe Satriani has done in his career, because he's got a lot of albums. That's
the song that had the voice modulation in it, right?
Yeah. And then, I got to like Rosewood Heart, and I was kind of like, okay, really, like, okay, there's more echoing vocals, but that fits the band. And then it goes to a couple, there's like 3 different interludes that go into 3 different songs. There's like interlude 3 that goes into Drive 2. And I'm not really sure what the meaning is of the interludes. Like, it's more instrumentals leading into a song. Lots of bands do that. Maybe it's just stuff they had that they didn't know what to put lyrics to, so they still wanted to use it. I don't know. But definitely like interlude 3 in particular, I noticed more than the others because they had kind of more of a psychedelic synth space out jam in the middle of it. And then so overall, definitely a very, very good album, especially for like a debut album. I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, I know that they're from Connecticut, and they played a lot in Connecticut, Northeast, before they started touring more nationally or even worldwide. But for the artwork, I just gave it a 3. It's not bad, not good. I just don't understand it. For the flow, I mean, it's steady throughout. I mean, it's easy to listen to, but a little bit hard because sometimes you get wrapped up in the music and you're like, oh, I missed that lyric, or I missed the metaphor. I got to pay more attention to it. So it does. You have to think about it. Sometimes you have to pay a little attention to it because they're good lyrics. And so it's definitely easy to start listening. And then the overall rating, I definitely give it a 4. I can't give it a 5 because it's not going to be one of my favorites. But personally, for me, I probably would give it a 3 because I don't know how often I'm going to go back to it. But it definitely interests me, and it's definitely good. Anybody who definitely likes that genre, there's no question they're going to like this music. They're going to like this album. They're going to listen to the newer albums too. So
and they're going to go to all the shows.
Definitely a high quality band that probably is awesome live. And I had never heard of them before. So that's the purpose of the challenge. So I mean, I think it was a good one to pick.
Can you go the 5 scorings?
So yeah, what did I do? I did the art was 3, the flow was 3, accessibility was 3. I think overall rating I gave 4. What was the one I missed?
Okay, then you were a 3. So 3, 3, 4, 3. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, where was this ranked for you, Jeff? Is this like one of your favorites? Is it one of the, because they're only from like basically since 2019? They're fairly new. I mean, they're not.
New. I only started listening to them a month ago. They're brand new. I mean, but they blew me for.
Oh, I remember you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, they blew me away. And I agree with everything you just said. And when I get to my review, you'll understand why. But this type of music, and they are a jam band, okay? And jam bands tend to have a set of lyrics, and then they have what they call space, or they call delivery, where there's a middle part where people do whatever they want, and then they go back to another song. This is very common in jam bands.
Kind of like a jazz session where you freestyle.
Yeah, and well, it's somebody once explained to me that jam bands are where rock meets jazz. It's just it's where they come together. But no, I found your review right spot on for somebody who's not in, because I had a friend of mine who's totally into heavy metal rock, listened to it, and he said almost the same thing. He says it's a good album, but it's not my thing.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely I would pick this up off the table if it was sitting there with a Grateful Dead and a Fish and a Dave Matthews or even others. That's the one I would pick up.
My question is, would you listen to this album again?
I would. I don't know if I will like go out of my way. There's so much stuff I already like listening to.
Yeah, I understood. No, that's.
But I think I would more likely to do what I did like with the one Alex channel from. Like I'll put it into my Pandora so that I will be forced to experience it, and that
Hear
way
other
I'll
things
enjoy it.
like that.
I'm not going to fast forward through it. I'll recognize it, and I'll hear something I probably haven't heard because it'll be off a different album. You know what I mean?
This is good, really good music on headphones on a long plane trip.
That's what I used to listen to. Was what's the one thing I didn't do, which I probably should do. Like when you're a kid and you go to the record store and you spend your newspaper money on a cassette tape, and you go home, you sit in front of your stereo, maybe you got your headphones on, maybe you don't even headphones, but you open up the liner notes. You're gonna read along every lyric. Through the whole. You're listening to it front and back. Like I didn't read along. I probably should have picked like maybe a YouTube video that has the words in it so I can see it while I'm listening to it too, get a quicker understanding of everything instead of having to go back to it, listen to a second time. Because this way, the second time would be almost like a third time. You know what I mean? I maybe I'll try to do that in the future.
Yeah, it's very funny. It's very funny that experience. I know a lot of friends that did. Me, I rarely had hardly any music collection because all the money I see, I lived in LA when I was growing up, and bands were everywhere. And you could go out and on a Friday or Saturday night, even if you were 16 or 17, you could see a band for $6 or $7. So I saved all my money for live music because that's always been my forte. I prefer live to Memorex.
How many of those tickets do you still have?
0.
That's too bad.
I probably should have, thinking in hindsight, I could have made a fortune off them, but no, I'm not a saver. I'm not a hoarder.
It's crazy. I think the first concert I went to was Van Halen with Sammy Hagar. On the ticket, it says $13.50. It's like, it's insane. You can't get a beer for $13.50 now when you go there.
Oh, my one of my first concerts was at the Forum, and I think this was the either 70 or 71, and it was oh, come on. Oh, I hate when I do that. My brain goes completely flat.
Okay. Case of the olds.
Grace Slick.
Grace Slick. Wow.
Jefferson Airplane. Shut
up.
Jefferson Airplane. So anyway, Mark, back to you.
Okay, so I've listened to this record, and I'm intrigued because Goose is kind of blowing up everywhere, right? In that vein that you guys talked about, you hit it right on, nail on the head for everything. One of the things that I wanted to kind of expand on was Jeff stated that the liner notes, right? The whole holding the package and reading things to give you insight or whatnot. The first service that figures out how to do this so that I can have that stuff, then this will be gone. Okay. You won't know the people. I would have known, when we did album, the Panelist Favorites, and we're talking about those albums and Don Henley and several other records. I knew Robbie Robertson that Bruce Hornsby was on both those records. You would not have known Bruce Hornsby was on those records unless you got a good ear or unless somebody had told you so. And this is what tells you so. This online shit does not tell you anything. It's just, here's my pile of music. Here it is. Don't get me wrong. I'm a junkie. I love it. But this tells me more, and it's educational. Not everybody's looking for the educational, but I do think it does change the listening experience when you have the liner notes.
And you know what else that you notice right away too is it'll say the title of the song before it gets lyrics. It says who wrote it, and sometimes it's not even the band.
Correct.
Or it's always somebody who did that.
So when I listen to this record, I can tell you this: I was so into the jam, and I love organ. You got the Hammond organ, and you're slaying it. I'm all in. All right. They're a band.
It's excellent.
Fantastic,
Hammond.
Right?
Excellent Hammond.
Yeah. So in that, which is great because once I hear that, then I go, ooh, I can send Jeff Johnson some other records because that's got the organ in it and whatever. So that enthralled me. I didn't even catch the lyrics until the second time I listened to them. You know, usually in jam bands, the lyrics kind of slip away from me. They don't have that. Obviously, I'm a sad, angry dude, maybe, and I just don't like upbeat lyrics and stuff. Yeah. Well, you know, but this had reggae in it. It had island type feel in some cases. Had the jazz type of feel in the delivery of music. This guy's voice kind of reminded me of the guy from the Spin Doctors. Kind of had that.
You know, his voice, it's almost the same tone and level throughout, even when you expect him to raise it and hit a higher level or a louder level on a refrain or like the heightened part of a song. It doesn't really change that much for me anyway. Didn't like it.
No, I think the band carried the change and he kind of lowered into it. That's some of the cases. I mean, that's not.
I mean, it's definitely not as monotone as like Interpol, but you know,
but it's not monotone in any way. Yeah, definitely melodic and kept it real. I enjoyed it. It's a good pick, Jeff. Goose is. I recommend people that if you're in that wheelhouse of everything that Jeff. God, if we have more Jeffs on here, it's gonna be awesome.
Just try it anyway, because what's the worst could happen? You'll hear one song and you don't like it.
You're gonna like it. I don't think anybody could put it down. No, it doesn't have that crazy Dave Matthews lyrical content of any sort of nature. But
Jeff, if someone's picking up that album, what's the first song they should listen to if they were worried about liking it? Maybe Arcadia.
I don't.
I'm Arcadia. Actually,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't know the songs well enough. I'm still a virgin in this. I sent it to you mainly because I knew you hadn't listened to it. Because
you wanted to know if you should listen to it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I just wanted to see where your head was at. Really was, because the thing is, the more we do this, the more we learn about each musical taste, and so we can really try to screw with the others as the future goes on. So, Mark, real quick, 0 to 25, what would you rate that album you just listened to? Goose?
I was an 18. Okay. I thought that cover, I was a 1. Why? There's got to be some I like, but I don't understand it, and it didn't come out, and I didn't find anything as to why. And the songs didn't kind of come into that for me, considering I'm thinking the island. What is the moon cabin? I will tell you this: the interludes were unnecessary. They weren't necessary at all. I don't know why they were there. Maybe I
didn't understand them. I wrote that in my notes, but I didn't want to say it because
the jives were the best songs of they were the cataclysmic stuff. The really cool stuff. So
and I like the interludes, but that's just me.
They're like it's almost like they're going, well, we're gonna, and then there's a couple of good licks. And then it goes into the next song. So really put the couple of licks in the beginning of the song and it doesn't have to be a track. I don't know. That's just me. But I that's an 18, 19. I think I was debating on the flow of the record. The interludes kind of that was a tweaker for me. And I did not listen to this in my headphones. So that might change a little bit too. Like the interludes might sound better completely submersed.
Oh yeah, right? This is the one you need Spire audio for.
Well, I don't honestly, anything you listen to these days needs to have that, but that was a great pick, and again, not in Jeff Young's wheelhouse at all. So, and I like the score. I like what he said about it, and
I gave it a 17.
What was mine? 16 overall. So
yeah. Well, all right, so.
Everything got 4s except the album cover and gave a 1 to.
Oh, I guess I was more generous on the art than you guys.
So with that, I'll let Jeff Johnson talk about what Jeff Young sent him.
Yeah, I'm having problems, technical issues here.
Jeff, do you want me to say the name of the band, or are you good now?
It's Crean's Right.
All right.
Well, it took me like 17 listens to figure it out. Let me grab my notes in front of me. Here we go. Okay. Well, my ratings very much like Jeff.
This is the album Empire. You don't know.
Yeah. This is Empire, yes. This was released in 1990. completely out of my wheelhouse in most directions. I listened to hard rock more times than I can count. Do I usually enjoy it? No. It just, I don't know. There's something about heavy rock that just doesn't do my trigger. I mean, I've seen quite a few people in concert, and it doesn't, do I tap my feet? Yes, but it doesn't register up here. It just doesn't give me pleasure like listening to the Dead or Neil Young or whoever I'm listening to. But now, so I listened to a couple songs, and then I said, who the hell do they sound like? And after much debate, it came out that they sounded a lot like Judas Priest to me. I don't know if you know who that is. That's a real old rocker.
I do. I've seen them.
And yep, Judas Priest, and a lot like Def Leppard.
Yeah, especially with the harmony.
Yeah,
Harmonies especially.
Yeah. Did I like them? Yes. Did I not like them? Yes. It was a really hard one. I forced myself, because I don't give up on an album, because I want to see what makes it popular, because this is of all their albums, this was their most popular album. It sold more than any other one, triple platinum. So somebody's liking it out there, but it's probably not the crowd I run with. But musically, very, very tight. They are really, really good musicians. I tend to, if the music is too metal, I tend to lose the lyrics. It's something that the metal drowns out. No matter how much clarity you have, to me, it drowns it out. I can't understand it. So I have to listen to it over and over to try and pick up the words, because the lyrics are half of the song. I really enjoyed a lot of it. Best I Can was really good. It had great keyboards on it. I really, really enjoyed that. And that really said, when I first heard this, like, oh, this is going to be promising. Some of the other songs I liked, The Thin Line was really, really good. I enjoyed that song. The other ones were like, Della Brown, it didn't do much for me. It sounded almost like the other ones. Resistance was good. They called Silent Lucidity the best song on the album. I thought it was not as good as Best I Can, but I understand why people like it, because my brother is totally into heavy metal, so it's just that it just doesn't compute. And that's the thing is, did I enjoy listening to the whole album? Yeah, it was interesting. Would I listen to it again? No. So let me go with my scoring here. So for album cover, I actually enjoyed it. That was interesting. Is there a meaning? Nope, I have no idea what it means.
It's just kind of their logo.
It looks almost like a head of a pike. So
Yeah.
But,
I don't like that it's so digitized. It doesn't look clean. Anyway,
Yeah.
what was your score?
3.
Great. Okay.
Okay. Next is musicianship. Okay. I'll give them a 5. You can't fault somebody that's good. There's no question. Most bands that have popular albums, you may not like the style, but you can't fault the musicianship.
Yeah.
Accessibility. This is where I'm going to drop in my ratings. They were hard to follow song to song. Some of the stuff sounded the same. Some of it, the words I could not understand. I had to get the lyrics there so I could read them while it was singing.
Mhm.
I give accessibility a 2. Okay. There's something I'm missing here.
Flow of the record.
Oh, flow. Flow of
And then
record,
your
flow
overall
of
rating.
record, flow of record, I give a 4. It flowed okay. It had a good flow. It just, by the third song, I was not very interested anymore. It just lost it for me. All in all, I'm going to give them a 3. Not because the band was great, but the songs didn't interest me. It just was not. It was not something I wouldn't listen to it again unless I now in the same saying, if they were in my town and they were playing a concert, I could get a seat. I might go see them because the musicianship is that good.
Yeah, there's no question. So the album before that is considered one of the best metal records probably ever made, conceptual metal records, because it's a concept album. It's brilliant, but it is a mathematically metal brilliancy, right? So almost to the point of they were considered progressive metal, right? Silent Lucidity, Jet City Woman, other parts of this record, it seemed like they were bowing to the record label to add a kind of listening ship to gain popularity. And while I understand that, I can understand how fans might have taken that, but they took a big jump. I mean, this was, like you said, triple platinum. It may even be bigger than triple platinum now, but the other record, that's when Jeff said he was sending you Queensryche. I was really hoping he was not sending you Operation Mindcrime, because I knew that would be. But now that you're saying once you got to Silent Lucidity, which is a slow ballad, you were already checked out. It tells me that maybe it didn't have as much differentiation, and it's always a lot of people, especially I'll say this with people who have a perfect pitch, they have a hard time listening to jazz because if they can't take something that doesn't, that's not perfect.
It's okay, I have no pitch.
Yeah, right. But the thing is, like for you, metal, like if something has your attention in your ear and you can't get past it, then you're not going to hear the other part, right? And I can understand that. That's why some people hate Saint Anger by Metallica, because the drums are so intense, they kind of drown out everything else that's going on. So Jeff, what do you?
We all have certain things about all music in general that drives us. Okay, whether it's the musicianship, whether it's the lyrics of a song, what drives me, okay, no matter what band I listen to, whatever, is harmony. I like harmony. That's always been, it touches my heartstrings when I hear a good harmony. And a lot of my best songs and bands and stuff like that have harmony, but you can also have harmony, not just vocally, but you can have harmony between instruments.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Jeff, I want anything to add on Empire?
It's funny that you mentioned that you don't like heavier music because it's tough to listen to some of the lyrics, but the songs you said you liked, some of those are the ones where Jeff Tate sings almost independent, and then it goes to music, then it goes back to him, back to the music. So it's probably easier to follow. And there's a variety of songs on that album, but the reason I selected it for you was obviously it's a challenge, but it's not your typical metal album where like the guy actually has a voice with some reasonable diction in the voice. And I thought the Chris Gadarmo lead guitar work was similar to some of the older style where it's long stretch out notes, but it's not like you're playing like a lot of guitarists will play 5 notes really fast together, where Chris Gadarmo will play one note, but play with that one note in the same way you would normally play 5 individual notes. And so it's more like he kind of slides it, he kind of bends it a little bit, but like more like some of the older guitarists. But anyway, I just thought, there's parts that I know that you would like, but I didn't know how much of the album you would like. So I thought it was worth the risk, and that's the idea of the challenge. So Jeff Tate has a marvelous voice, no question. Still does today. Whatever he's doing. So, well, I will thank my what? I was gonna say Chris DeGarmo, like now Chris DeGarmo, like since they kind of broke it up, he's not in the band anymore. I read where now he's like a private a private pilot for like a jet pilot or something like that. Who knows what
Wow.
he's really doing? But
Kind of like that whole Rob Dickinson thing, not doing music
yeah,
anymore.
I
yet
guess he
you were
still
born
plays
into-
now and then with people, but
Well, I thank my panelists for bringing these albums into our attention. And I know they both are, had an interesting listening experience, and I hope our panelists let it out there into the musical ether. We would love to hear from you. Please like and comment. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. We will do this again in 2 weeks. Who will it be in 2 weeks? I'm going to leave it as a surprise for now. We're on the web at www.beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Check out the articles we've got out there on all kinds of new records and albums, as well as Chef Bites, music bites from album bites from Chef Jeff. More new shows are coming and plenty of articles to come as well. And thank you for listening, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.